Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just was saying that I really didn't know if I was a girl for real because I just feel like other girls, like
Mhm.
the other girls playing Ring Around the Rosy in junior high because they thought they were attractive to boys. So I just
Mhm.
say I just not be a girl because I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to join that group. And then people tell me, "Hey, nice, go out with that guy. Go out with that guy." Even though you don't want to go out with him, go out with him, then other boys know that you want to go out, and then they'll go out. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
not
the way that you're describing it to me, it sounds almost like there were a lot of rules that you just were really not interested in obeying.
not those rules of what it was like to be a girl. Yes, no, not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I knew what my gender was because I had a sister and we used to take baths together.
Oh, yeah.
And we also, my parents were progressive, and I'm sure we had some kind of book around that said, you know, these are your genitals. So we had all of that. But, inside, I don't know if I've ever really measured up to whatever standards there are out there to be a man. I don't know if anyone really does. It seems pretty hard to attain. So that's kind of been my experience. So are we ready to, you want to doodle?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Try this.
All right, we got to do all this.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you might be ready, but I'm still fussing around here. Let's see.
So I'm not. I'm recycling paper.
I'm sorry, your audio is going out just a little bit. What are you saying?
I'm recycling paper.
Oh, good. Yes, I'm recycling paper too.
Right.
Someone gave me all this old color paper, and I'm just using it. It's like construction paper. I kind of love construction paper because, when you're a kid, they always had to use it. It's like super.
Well, what I'm doing is these are the I'm doing uh, I'm doing psychotherapy here.
Okay, tell me all about it.
Yeah, these are the trust statements for my brothers. For my brother, that I'm the guardian of my brother because he drank himself into a mental disability, and so he convinced my father to write me out of the will. So I am now protecting the money that he stole from me.
So you now is this so this is a drawing of protection.
Well, this is like an exorcism. It's like I'm hoping that the facing this is gonna help me with my psychological issues.
Okay, I think they always say if you just set the intention that it'll help, it will help.
Yeah, and then also the other thing is a dual duty here. Like if you shred your important documents,
Uh-huh.
throw that shredding in the garbage. You cannot recycle shredded paper. It messes up the machine. But if you deface your documents, then no one can use them. See, you can't get any information off of them, and so I just deface them, and then I can recycle them.
Oh, that's interesting. So wait, it doesn't. So recycling can't be. I mean, shredded paper cannot be recycled. Interesting.
No,
Huh. You figure
it's
they're
not.
going to shred it anyway, you
No,
know?
but the shredding, they don't actually completely shred it. I think they throw it in a kind of liquid first,
Uh-huh.
to get it all mushy.
Interesting.
Oh, I thought you stopped. I had to stand up and see if you were still there.
No, I'm still here. Yeah. It's sometimes it's like it's a little hard to get used to this at first because it's kind of against your nature, or my nature at least, to a lot of times I don't like to I find that when I have to, I'm doing it right now. When I have to, uh, what is it, to multitask, that my train of thought gets a little disturbed. And
Oh,
so sometimes it feels like doodling and talking can be like that. And sometimes it doesn't. What were you going to say? Sorry.
no, I'm going to say I've never noticed that doing these doodle things before. You're always completely just going along, talking and drawing, 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 drawing. Like you're really drawing a lot.
I, I am a fast drawer. And
Yeah.
I was thinking about why. And I think it's because I used to think, well, I'm just a nervous person and I need to draw fast. But I actually think it's because it keeps me from thinking too much about what I'm drawing, you know? I just keep having to respond to things as opposed to, because I think otherwise I would try to draw something like recognizable. And I don't want to do that. I just want to kind of play with shapes. The other thing is I've been teaching online through Zoom, and I've been noticing sometimes it feels easier to teach like abstract stuff rather than representational stuff, like online. Only because if you're drawing from something, drawing from a photograph, it's just not the same as drawing from something in real life, you know.
I
We were
would
talking.
I
Mm-hmm.
would think though that it might be harder for someone to know if they did something that they like, if it's all abstract, whereas if they could draw a pretty cat or something, then they would know. Oh, look at that. Looks like a cat. That, that's
That's true. I would agree with that. Yeah, I think for some people it's satisfying to see something like, oh, that's recognizable, you know.
yeah.
And then I think for other people, and yeah, I'm still, in terms of like just trying to accept just shapes and lines for what they are. I mean, I've been taught to do that from looking at art for my profession, but for myself, I still am confused by it, you know. Still kind of trying to figure it out for myself. So it's kind of the doodle with me has been great for for me exploring that kind of stuff more. I think it's also kind of relaxing not to really know what, you know, it's the one thing in life when you don't know what you're doing can be very relaxing.
Well, it's relaxing to listen to you do it. So,
Am I channeling what's his name, Bob Ross?
yes, you are. You are. I think you are, but in a much better way. I don't know.
What?
Do you think that Bob Ross was like, I don't know. What do you think his deal was? Was he like
Well,
trying to hypnotize everybody? Was that it? Were we all like then indoctrinated in some way? We didn't know.
yeah, that's probably right. It was some kind of mind control so that we would love
Yeah.
those kinds of paintings. I don't know. I think I did do a funny thing, which was in Walgreens they had I think it was like a $12 magazine of dedicated to Bob Ross.
Oh.
And it was got a little bio in it, and then they had really big images of his, you know, landscape paintings, and the bio was kind of interesting. There was a guy that he based his show on, who did paintings as well. I can't remember his name right now, but so he had kind of like a mentor who handed over his show to him on live local TV, and that was how he got started. Was this guy kind of gave him the show, and then he had to figure out kind of how to do it
Really?
himself. Yeah.
Wait, but he must have already been a painter.
Oh yeah, he was a painter, but I don't. They didn't go into like was he trained or not or any of that. You know. I think he was just kind of. If I remember correctly, he was kind of just looking for a job, and
And it was hard for him to get one with that afro, that white fro.
Well, you know, I did at one time. I had a friend do a home perm on me,
Uh-oh.
and she. Let's see. I had a home. She did a home perm, or did she either did a home perm or she dyed my hair red? Well, anyway, I had the perm that got frizzy, and I had the red hair at the same time. So it was a real like clown look. You know, it was very, very.
I think people would pay good money to see that picture.
I'm sure it's somewhere around. Yeah, I have to find it. I'm not working really hard to find it, but yeah. So
I used to
yeah,
get a perm.
yeah. Perms were big at one time.
They were like my perm was so that my hair could stick out like in a triangle out the back of my head. There was some name for that. I can't remember now.
Oh, it's the Nefertiti. Is that what it was called?
No, it was
In
not
the
called that, but it should have been. You're right.
in the 70s, I remember Cher got a Nefertiti. She just wore it for one, you know, one song or
I'm
something.
sure
But
that was a wig.
oh, that's right. Those are wigs. I went
Yeah.
back to that time thinking, all that hair. How did they fix her hair like that? I didn't even not even think that it could have been a wig.
They bought it. That's how they fixed it. Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you go online, you just see that like you can get fake anything. Really, you can be anything you want.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
Now, is there anything fake that you would like to have? The wedge is what it looks like. Mary
Yes.
Beth is saying it's the wedge. Is that
Yeah.
the Dorothy Hamill wedge? Is that what we're talking
Oh
about?
God, no, Dorothy Hamill. No, 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 no. I remember one time I went in to get my hair done at a different hairdresser, and she cut my hair, and I was crying. I said, "You made me look like Dorothy Hamill." I was so upset. She goes, "Yes, yes, that's nice." I'm like, "No, it's not. This is not going to go over in the club very well."
Oh, okay.
Hamill. No.
So you were kind of like so you were kind of a club kid. Was that what you were like? You would make outfits and go out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
not Club Kid, because this is before Club Kid period. I'm talking about in the 70s and 80s.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. And how was it different?
No, Club Kids, make, well, you know what are you talking about the Club kids that like hung out at Limelight?
Yeah.
No, no, no. This is way before that.
Okay. And so but it was different. So it was different.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
just Club Kids are all, like make themselves up to look like non-human a little bit.
oh, and so you guys were going more for glamour.
Yeah, but like fun, like a new wave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or, and also I was into rockabilly too. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's all vintage clothes, that kind of thing. And
Right.
clothes
Right.
in Wisconsin. That was my attire.
And vintage clothes are kind of interesting because you could definitely like it for me, vintage clothing looks like you get a history lesson, right? For me at least, like how did men dress in a different time? And then started making me think, oh, do I have to dress this way or I could dress another way because people in another time dressed this way, you know?
Well, yeah, it's also, you're, it fits your body differently, like, or like with the women's clothes, at least, you have to have a tight, if you go 50s, you've got a tight waist and, maybe a narrow through the hips, if it's like a cocktail dress. Maybe you're wearing garters and hose instead of pantyhose.
Didn't they also wear girdles though? Like they had to wear some kind of girdle or some kind of a
Yeah, girdles were very popular, but I didn't wear girdles. But I got to tell you that sometimes sort of a girdle was more comfortable than a garter belt for the hose.
what was more comfortable?
Well, a kind of a girdle, but not as tight as a girdle, was more comfortable than a garter belt. you want to wear stockings.
It's interesting because when we first started the conversation, you were talking about how you didn't like kind of like the rules of being a girl when you were growing up. But
Yeah.
in some ways, the clothing, a lot of that vintage clothing is very like, at least from the 50s and stuff, very hyper feminine.
Yeah. So you think that that's why I dressed that way then? Yeah. You know,
No,
I,
I didn't say that. I was just thinking about.
it's supposed to be like a drink session, isn't it? It seems like all the other ones are. No, not really. I don't really mean that. Um, No, you're probably right. No, I mean, when I had problems with being a girl before, it was because you were supposed to dress in a very particular way, and you were supposed to have breasts, and you were supposed to act in this stilted kind of way. That was my problem. So once I could play with that any way I wanted to, then I was fine with it.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, the idea of play, that there's
Yeah.
not rules, but you can play. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yes.
I never really ventured too far out of the realm of masculine in terms of how I've dressed. I always
What
went for professor look for some reason because I
but
think I
performance? You
always,
did
huh?
performance.
Huh?
What about when you were doing performance? You weren't dressed like a professor then. You were
Oh,
out of the gender rules then, weren't you?
oh no, that's true. They put me in girdles and stuff. That wasn't my choice per se. That was the choreographer would be like, here, wear this girdle, or here, wear this bow, or I mean,
Okay,
half the
sorry. I just can't think that you protested too much about it though.
I did not. I did not. I
Okay,
didn't even.
okay, so
They would
there
have me naked sometimes, and I didn't even. I was just so curious. I just was so curious, like, oh, what would this be like?
there's the proof, of course. There it is. No one was forcing you into that.
Oh, that's true. That's right. No, it's true. I'm not being forced. If someone says do this, and I say okay, that's not forced. Yeah, that's
That's right.
true.
That's
I
right.
just wanted to keep my job, my high-paying job as a performance artist.
Yes, very high paying job. Yes, exactly.
We would like rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and we would work on our costumes and think out the whole thing, and it was just like all this work. And then we'd show up to do it, and they'd say, oh, we'll just put you up against this wall way in the back while everyone else is having a party. And so we kind of we were like, oh my god, we're not getting paid. We were basically party decorations. Why are we doing this? But we kept doing it. I mean, it was really was kind of like being part of a special clan, or a special family. So I did it for that reason, I think, a lot. But
You
um,
were in the secret group.
what
You
secret?
belong- Secret group. You belong to a secret
It
group.
it was a secret group, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was one of the first times too where I was hanging out with guys that were, um, I mean, it was athletic in that we really had to, um, we really had to perform and we had to be strong to do it, but at the same time, very comical, very silly. We performed a lot with the Kipper Kids. Do you remember them?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
The big time.
Well, it was kind of, I mean, when they were in LA, we'd do that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
were the most. I don't know. I mean, lots of people know about them who don't know anything about performance art. I don't know when they were like the most famous performance art
At the,
people of that time. That's for sure.
what's funny too is like the performance art that was then is so different than now. I
Yeah.
think there a lot of performance art seemed to be much more about kind of like visual stunts and kind of weird, psycho, expressive. Um, there wasn't a lot of talking. There wasn't a lot of like theory. It was actually, I mean, well, the Kipper Kids is a good example, and Shrimps, who I was with, was an example. We just were really kind of celebrating a dumbness, not like dumb, stupid, but more like another a kind of theatricality that didn't use words, didn't
Yeah.
have to be explained. And the whole idea was to be as visceral as possible, you know.
Yeah, visceral. They were the epitome of visceral. I mean, they reached the height of visceral.
Yeah. They would get really, really messy. Yeah, making a mess was big. Yeah.
Yes. But then it makes you feel something in the audience, you know, because it's
Yeah.
visceral.
I
It's just
was
not something that is always so comfortable to be feeling, maybe.
that's
Oh,
what that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying to Kid that I miss. I miss being in a room full of people listening to live music and just I know we shouldn't talk about this when we're online trying to create a, a community atmosphere, but there is something about sharing physical space with people that just was very much for me about that time. I mean, this
yeah.
time period now, I just feel like it's so abstract in that it feels very like all of the online spaces feel so mental, you know. It's just, I mean, it's just different. It's just different. I'm not judging it. I can't really, but it is a different kind of thing. It's not a sensual experience.
Not a sensual experience. Yeah. Well, you mean that like in the way of like sensations. It's not a time for other sensations other than just the visual.
Yeah. So it's been weird for me as a visual artist because I'm like, oh my God, all we do is look at things. Do I really care anymore? But here I am. I mean, it's what I know how to do, and it's what I try to communicate. Hey, I noticed that you turn your page around. That's pretty interesting. Now, when you're turning your page around, is there a reason, or is it just because it feels good, or?
If well, I'm doing just want to do something different. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
You know.
We're going to go over just a little bit today because we got started a little late. So
So wait a minute. Did you say when you were sure that you were male, or you said that you weren't sure about whether you could ever meet these expectations of what maleness seemed to be?
yeah,
Thing.
I never was quite sure if I was doing it right. I just never looked like television, which was kind of what I based everything on was
Yeah,
movies.
no, yes, I had that thing when I got a Barbie doll, and I just looked at it and I thought I'm never going to look like that, and so I'm not really a girl. Look at that. Actually, what I really thought was I actually literally thought, okay, well, oh, this is what happened when my mother to tell me about uh, when you get your period. She didn't actually tell me. She like, I remember it very vividly that I was sitting on the couch and she sort of like ran through the living room and threw this book at me, this little pamphlet that was from Kotex. So it was all, and had these pictures of these girls, you know, and they're all wearing that 50 style dress with the big poofy skirt. This was a
Oh.
dated book because we're in the 60s here now. We could have had like some more normal looking clothes. But anyway, so they had skirts and they had real pointy breasts, you know, like the Barbie doll. And I
Oh
just thought,
yeah.
well, obviously I'm going to die before I'm 16 because I'm never going to end up looking like this. I must be dead.
Now wait a second though. Wait, so Kotex put out a book about your health? Like,
Yes, about getting your period and
wow.
products. You will start bleeding, and so here, use this to soak it up.
God. Oh my goodness.
Did you have like a health movie in school that explained
Yes.
sex?
We did have a health movie in school. There was two. The girls got to watch one that was called
Oh yes.
The Yellow Dress. and it was
Oh,
about getting a yellow dress once you get the special visitor. I never knew what it was about, but I was kind of curious. I wanted to know about the yellow dress, and no one would tell me because it was secret. But for the guys, it was basically our principal, I believe, and he had a really good sense of humor. I don't remember what was so funny about it, but he kind of made some funny jokes about it. I think it was our principal, and he showed us a film, and I think it was probably a Disney film with an animated penis that kind of, I don't even know if they showed the erection or not. I can't remember. But I do remember the sperm would, cycle around in the balls, kind of like the freeway, because in LA there are all these, there are all, in LA there are all of these, freeways.
wait a minute. So then, whenever you are driving on the freeway, did you just think about sperm getting around?
Well, not when I was older. I had other things on my mind, but when I was a kid, I did, it was like a circulatory kind of animation. But I don't even remember. I think they did show that there was an animation and the penis got, it got straight. And then that's how you knew, because it fit exactly into its reverse, like it's the special pocket that the girl has.
A pocket. Is that like
That's,
a hot pocket?
I don't, yeah, they don't. The thing about the pocket was they didn't really, I don't recall them saying, they just said the woman gets, I don't remember them telling us about the reproductive system, not until high school. This was something I saw in 6th grade. So
Oh,
I think it was limited. I think they were going to limit how much they told us. And then in high school, we learned more. We learned all about, in high school, all about venereal diseases and STDs and all the ways you could get sick and, go mentally ill by
yes, sex. Sex drives
sex.
crazy.
Well, I have to say, our cat, his balls are growing in and he's getting older and he is just getting more and more crazy. He's getting more and more crazy, and there's no, he looks out the windows and he sees all these creatures, but he can't go out because he's an indoor cat, and he just attacks us all the time. And I'm like, this is getting weird. He's getting too. He's not a kitten anymore. So our child is growing up and
Your
having
child is growing up. Your
and
child.
having older kitty needs.
I want to tell more. Okay, when I was talking about a movie about sex in school, that was in high school. In 6th grade, they didn't tell us anything.
No, nothing.
Sex in the back of the school bus, like everyone should.
There was a book in my 6th grade class that a woman named Beverly Barakat, who was the cool, hip, young teacher, she had a book that was maybe from Sweden, because in Sweden, that's where all the sexy books were from.
Yes.
And yes, and she had a book that kind of described all kinds of things, and it was on a bookshelf in the back, kind of hidden, and somehow someone found it, and it just made the rounds. All the guys were handing it to each other and talking about it, and it was a big deal. I don't remember what it talked about, but it was scandalous. I hope she didn't get in trouble for it. So, wow, weird times. I don't know. I have no idea what it's like for kids now around these issues. Although I think there are some parents out there who could probably tell us.
my making a lot of noise.
That's right. Well, your doodle exorcism is screaming right now.
It is. That's what it's. Okay, maybe it's the end.
Yeah, I think we're actually coming to the end. So maybe we'll just end with a scream. All right. Well, thank you very much, Linda, for doodling with me. I'm going to switch this around. I'm going to switch this around. Hold on. I have kind of this. All right. Well, thanks for joining, and Steamy
I don't know about you.
conversation.
I feel refreshed. I just feel relaxed and refreshed now. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, I do believe that Kotex probably also has a refreshing ingredient in it as well. No, I'm glad you feel refreshed, and I'm gonna give some news bulletins to folks. So I'm going to I will get rid of your image, but you'll still be here. So bye and thank you. And let's see. You'll have to you'll have to disinvite yourself. So that was Linda Hesh. Please check her out on Instagram. And we have next week. I will not be with all of you. I'll have a special guest host who's mysterious, and I'll be giving you maybe hints during the week, but you will not know who this person is unless you tune in. It's very exciting. And then also next week, next Sunday, I'll be offering an actual class. It's only $22. It's 2 hours of a class I call Air, Spirits, and Transparency. So it's learning to do transparent drawings, but we'll be talking about the supernatural and spirit realm. So that will be next Sunday, and you can find it in my link, or you can go to Golden Dome School in LA and register. So those are what's coming up. Anyway, all, thank you very much for joining. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning, but it was all worth it. So until next Friday, have a great weekend and next week. Bye-bye. Thanks again, Linda.